Ladies and gentlemen, a brand new Spider-Man is finally out. And what that simply means, in a world filled with a lot of, let's call it copycats, a lot of people inspiring to be at a certain place, obviously, the biggest flattery comes from imitation. So, hey, gotta say something. But let me tell you, as someone who has been paying for Movie Pass membership or AMC Subs membership since 2017, supporting the movie industry has put a toll on my back. But there are moments in time, days, screenings that you just know you can anticipate. And even knowing sometimes isn't enough to give you a glimpse of how impactful one Spider-Man can be. Because I had bought my tickets way before time, good to go, no problem. But I did notice that around 10 a.m. when I was trying to view my ticket, that the AMC app was waitlisted, meaning you had to open up an app and wait 10 to 15 minutes just to access a selection. Meaning that yesterday at 10 a.m., when I was just trying to send my friends like what seat I was gonna sit on, everybody and their mothers literally was out there buying Spider-Man tickets. And I know this for a fact, because as I rolled up on my motorcycle to my AMC location, ladies and gentlemen, that shit was packed. You drive a motorcycle because you can park anywhere you want. Thank God I did. But walking inside that building and seeing that both the left and right extra concession stands were open for business and had a line going down on both sides. Guys, movies are back. No, I'm just kidding. But it's real. It's real. It is genuinely baffling how much just one person can make a difference. If you want to call him a person. Because the reason that so many people are attached or affected or afflicted or admire this young lad, I don't know exactly what strand of reefer Stan Lee was smoking when him and Steve Ditko came up with the idea of a teenage New Yorker trying to make it happen. Whether that be his school, whether that be his finances, whether that be the love of his life, which would end up very badly for one Peter Parker. But I remember being just a little bugger, and I remember opening like little books of like describing his background. It was just the weirdest thing to be able to go to a Scholastic's book fair, see a Spider-Man book that basically gives you a biography of who Spider-Man is at that point. And in 2004, I did not really think we had all that history from Spider-Man, but growing up and understanding where the character comes from, what his sort of cultural impact has done, and being able to see directly just how much of a impact these moments are, it is truly baffling. And it's just safe to say that when people say there is superhero fatigue, or people think that, oh, these Marvel movies are bombing, so like we must be done with superheroes. Simply put, realistically said, the reason we look up to heroes The reason a dumbass 4-year-old goes straight to a Spider-Man book and spends his afternoons learning about a victorious character is because they inspire hope. And Spider-Man, for all his gadgets now in the year of our Lord 2026, for all his abilities, right? For all this power this man holds, you've always known that Spider-Man is there for his neighborhood. That one man is realistically swinging around the city, making sure his people are okay. That man is Mayor McNutt. Just kidding. But it's impactful, man. It's incredible to see just how, granted, a man with superpowers, a kid if you really want to. He's 26, maybe 30. I think Tom Holland's about my age at this point. He's how much it means for someone to actually still put up that fight. And it is a fight. This film specifically zones in on Peter Parker and the difficulties of carrying responsibility. It's really easy to go up to someone and say, with great power comes great responsibility. Carry this weight for the rest of your life. But the real challenge, the real struggle, is picking up that rock every single day and doing it with purpose. And I am impressed by how this, in my opinion, is less of a Marvel piece. It is Marvel's property branching, but I'd have to believe that Amy Pascal and the people at Sony are the ones that are doing the heavy lifting with the scripting, the writing, the story, and the character moments. Because some moments really, really hit. And all that is only possible because we've been hanging out with one Tom Holland for so long. 4 Spider-Man films, and I believe 2 Avengers, Civil War and Infinity and Infinity Ending. So 3 Avengers films. But it's crazy. It's cool, and it's the idea because you're talking to someone who has known 4 technically with Japanese guy, but three on-screen Spider-Man, and Andrew Garfield didn't last as long, so it was never necessarily guaranteed that Tom Holland's character would be around for this long. But we've seen him do that. We've seen him grow, and one of the most like outlandish but super badass like thought pieces, in my opinion, and I don't know if they really thought about it this well or if they just kind of built it on the spot as we were moving along. But the fact that essentially Marvel introduced Spider-Man into the cinematic universe and placed him on the highest totem pole because he was Tony Stark's son, adopted son. And they gave him those gadgets, they gave him those abilities, they gave him those connections to the adventures, which was fun, sure. But it's not who Spider-Man is. And to see that like geniusness happen in the 3rd film, where he makes the decision to essentially erase his existence from the cinematic universe, you put him in a position where he is legitimately an experienced, an athletic, a battle hardened, a patient, and a damn fine Spider-Man. And I remember seeing that final scene years ago when he's swinging around New York in this outfit, and then during night though. So when I saw that reflectiveness of that bright blue, it was like pop. Oh my God, this is the OG Spider-Man. We're finally to the point where we get OG Spider-Man, because technically in the universe, nobody knows that all this happened. And it's just this brilliant, genius move of saying, hey, this is where you have to begin as Peter Parker, as Spider-Man. And you can see how someone who has lost everything in his personal life could easily be funneled into just solely devoting themselves to a job. And we see the price of that. Again, this is a very heavy Peter Parker film. The price of choosing to be the servant and not leaving time for the human that is Peter Parker. And because of those moments, we start getting plot developments that put him in an interesting position. I don't get spoilerific in this stuff because I want everyone to just go out there and experience things for themselves. But the way they introduced his personal problem, his inside personal problem, his emotional personal problem was genius, because it gave me glimpses of what could have been a Venom influence, a symbiotic influence. And we're not saying that's what's happening here. Again, no spoilery stuff like that. But it makes me think that the people at Sony might be looking forward into how we're going to explore that character and what sort of emotion that raw, unjustified Spider-Man would bring to the table. And obviously we've tried the symbiote angle once in a movie. Yeah, so we've only seen it once live. But if that's where we're leaning in, if that's the direction we're going to, that's genuinely exciting. Because again, we've had Tom Holland for so long. We sort of come to understand the character and what he stands for. And we're seeing him being put to his limits, being tested to his limits in this film. And the only way we can really like go just a bit further and really break that chain is if we went with the symbiote route, which I'm pretty sure executives and Hollywood would like to do. But the brilliance of waiting this long is that when those said emotions pop up on screen and you see Peter react the way he is reacting at the moment, you come to something deep inside you goes, whoa, that's not my Spider-Man, or something's going wrong right there. And that was pretty cool, impressive. Some shout outs to Tom Holland for actually like bringing in the thunder, right? We saw him go like, dad, dad, in the Odyssey, but like, doesn't do the kid justice. The kid knows how to act. He has a lot of body language that he gives off in the film. And it's really, really awesome to just see this guy start from the beginning, how he basically did a front flip in his audition tape, and that's pretty much what got him the role, because John Bernthal was like, hey man, you do gymnastics, do a front flip in the interview, but no one else can do that. And to see them kind of barrel up forward, grow, and to have in this film really the most athletic and gymnastic Spider-Man that we have had to date. And nothing against Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield, but when you see this kid doing flips and like shooting webs behind his back and shit, holy fuck, man, this is Spider-Man, Jesus. And obviously it's been refreshed and we've been introduced to a more technical Spider-Man through the PlayStation PS5 games, and to see that kind of be bleeding into this was nice to see, admittedly, right? Again, we don't want to necessarily feel like we're being sold out, or like oh, because we made the Spider-Man game, we need to introduce the Spider-Man stuff from the video game and sell it inside our movie. But it works. It makes sense. And I see Tom Holland and I see him do those flips, and it looks very, very believable. As in, that is the Spider-Man. He is moving out there. He has his fighting style is called the Way of the Spider, and it's essentially just a fighting style that Spider-Man has created for himself, because he's the only one that can move and dash and flip around like that, and he has webs. So again, if you like kung fu, I guess, and stuff like that, the amount of choreography that is done for and that is done and is performed by Tom Holland is really, really awesome, spectacular, if you will. That's a pun. But that all brings us to the pinnacle of what we're doing here. Admittedly, we have a lot of like side plot points happening throughout the film, and maybe that's done to the whole point of like the fact that Peter Parker's life is that hectic, and that something boom just keeps on happening up after. But seeing him sort of take these things one at a time, and seeing him sort of piece it together, right? If you know what you know, if people know what they're looking at, you could pretty much dial in really early on as to what's happening in the film. But being able to go through the ride together and having it slowly pieced for you, just out of circumstances and how the universe in their movie or in their universe is unfolding, we do get some strong surprises. And again, I'm not going to spoil it, because A, that's not what I like to do, and B, because literally everyone in the room was like, because we on you. So I'm saying, if you think that person is playing that freaking character, I won't say that she is, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure you already know. And that opens up the possibilities. Because it makes sense. We've seen Spider-Man interact with superheroes, other heroes, and we've seen how he has to work with them per se, right? So that's sort of Spider-Man's ability. He's able to be friendly or befriend people who are sometimes seem so outlandish, but that is a trait, a respectable trait in itself. However, as history dictates, when you put Spider-Man next to certain people with certain special powers, things get a little messy. And that is a very Ultimate Spider-Man-y comic book reference. So again, that is as far as I will go there. But Ultimate Spider-Man really has an issue with Wolverine. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say about that. That's all I'll say. He's a teenager. He's Ultimate Spider-Man is still in high school. That's why he's like very aggressive per se. But we get a little bit of that, not Wolverine obviously, but we get a little bit of that. And again, it opens up the doors to possibilities to other opportunities. And not only does he see this person, but yeah, we do get the Hulk, which, don't get too excited. The Hulk scene is kind of like more of a showcasing how good Spider-Man is. Again, the idea that the Hulk version here is probably the bigger version, bigger than like Infinity War and all that stuff, and the fact that they're putting him up against Spider-Man should tell you just how capable Spider-Man really is. Because if you didn't know, Spider-Man always holds back his punches. He has to. He would basically pop a head open if he didn't. But nonetheless, it's still impressive to see. The CGI, the animation was good. You got some really, really intense scenes in here, and not just the combative scenes, but definitely the personal scenes. We've said that this is going to be a Peter Parker film, and it really is that, because we're going through the kid's story and we're seeing how much of a positive force he is, right? But we are also noticing just how hard it is for him to keep on going, especially when he knows there's someone out there that he loves, but he can't really open up to her. And as someone who has been around this universe for quite a couple of times, it is a little frustrating. But that just goes to show just how good of a guy he is. And almost to a fault, right? You get certain moments where like people are picking on him for being like too kind, right? I'm thinking about one Frank Castle over there, but that is a charm, man. That is a like a trait that we aren't used to seeing in this generation, and it is sad. It is sad if you really think about it. The fact that we've withdrawn ourselves so much and we're so anxious towards each other that we don't even smile while walking down the street anymore. And not because we have to smile, but because we're not alone. And you never know what just hyping somebody up by giving them a nice smile might do for the day, or where they might be in the moment right now. So, and you never know how these things might affect someone who's just trying to find hope. But it takes power. It takes power. You have to be able to support those ideas, or else this world will eat you alive. And while it is great to see that a superpowered young man can make such a huge difference, or he chooses, because it's a choice, every day is a choice. He chooses to make a positive change in this community. But like the great word says, man cannot be alone. So, I won't necessarily say how their love story unfolds. One, Peter Parker and Mary Jane, if you can call it that. If you can still call it that, because again, one side of the party no longer remembers who Peter Parker is. But I'd be a damn lying fool if I didn't say that I wasn't just clenching, just like tightening up so badly when certain revelations were being dropped. And again, the fact that this young man has to go through all this emotional instability, and he still puts on that mask, and he still patrols and swings around protecting his people. That's his greatest superpower. So when people ask, why the fuck is there no parking in this Spider-Man movie? It's because everybody loves Spider-Man. And that's because Spider-Man loves everybody. So, let me know what you think, man. Because yeah, it's for the longest time we've been seeing these Marvel films drop, and yeah, superhero fatigue is a thing, but it's a thing because people don't know how to fucking write inspiration. Corporate hacks aren't inspired. So, Taito Wakiti, we'll see what happens, man. And I was impressed. I was genuinely impressed. I wanted to go into this not expecting much. I knew it was going to be Spider-Man. I knew I was excited about the direction that they were going with, specifically them showing those Insomniac Spider-Man fighting style. I was really interested in what they were going to do with that, and I was pleasantly surprised by how committed they were to just making this feel like it was something, you know. And I believe the question now is, where do we go from here? Well, this movie is making bank. It sold out AF yesterday. and I'm pretty sure a lot of people are gonna try to watch it tonight with their kids and stuff. I'm gonna try to give it one more go over the weekend. I did see it like in a meh screening. I saw it in 3D. It was only 3D. I would like to try at least Dolby at least once, and if they have it in IMAX, we'll see. But I'm pretty sure Odyssey is dominating the IMAX scene right now. However, I would have to say that this film is gonna make money, like money, and that's a little conflicting as someone who is really disappointed in Sony right now. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one. However, when a film is good and not just a superhero film, when a story is as provocative and thoughtful as you can get as a 20-year middle-aged man swinging middle-aged man swinging around the streets of New York, stopping people from a mechanical scorpion. You see that and you go, wow, these guys are really out here trying. And that makes all the difference. All being said, if you were gonna make a Spider-Man film, you bet your ass you're gonna bring your A game. And that's why I do feel that Tom Holland definitely now more than ever is the best Spider-Man on screen. We've had him for 6 films, but seeing him really go through the struggles and really put in that effort and doing the physical work and doing the acting work and seeing how him and Zendaya, being a married couple IRL, have to kind of like pull off this chemistry, this interesting cute chemistry. Yeah, man, it's just like these people know how to care. These people know how to act. You know, that's the best. The only way you can be a good actor is by actually giving a shit about emotions, meaning you care. But to see them and to see how they've grown, they're fucking old. I'm fucking old. And to see that they're just out there, just, you know, just like really putting in the effort, right? I still think about, to this day, I still think about when Sony was gonna pull the Spider-Man deal away from Marvel Cinematics, and then Tom Holland had to call up the Sony president at the time, and essentially kind of like started like crying, like, not crying per se, but like he started getting emotional, right? He's like, come on, guy, come on, sir, you gotta do this for the people, man. Like, this is it, man. This is Spider-Man. People love this shit. Like, you can't just don't cancel this deal just because you fucking want more money. And now we're here. So, tell me the kid didn't fucking earn his job, and I'll buy you a ticket. Because I want to watch it again too. But, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have for today. I am genuinely impressed. I genuinely love this film. I tried to play it cool with my boys. I was like, give it like an 8 out of 10. You know, go watch it, go have fun. But like inside, I was like, oh, that's my boy. That's my boy. And again, where they leave it off in the end credit scene. Yes, there is a end credit scene. It, again, if you know what you know, then you know shit's about to get magical. So hey, that's all I'll say about that. And I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. I hope you have the opportunity to go check out that film. And I hope you can find parking in a lot full of cars. Or you drive a motorcycle. But hey, it's been your boy, EXP 66 Stitch. Wishing you buenos dias, buenas noches, and a better tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Ciao. Matane. He's blind, man. All right, let's go.